Let me share with you an interesting fact. In most cases, when you export an image, the colors do not change. I can actually show that to you. Have a look at this document. We have done very simple color grading. So this is the original one, just a little bit of curves, color lookup tables, blend mode, so on and so forth, right? Let's just go ahead and export it by going to File and then Export, and inside of Export, Export As. Inside of that, I'm going to leave it at JPEG. Have a look right there and click on Export All. And let's name this Export 1. Alright, now we're going to open this up back in Photoshop. Let's open this JPEG by going to our Finder or File Explorer and just drag it and drop it into Photoshop. Alright, there we are. Now have a look at this photo. Let's compare both of these photos. So this is the one that we exported and this is the one that we were working with. Now you might say the colors have changed, but I'm going to have to disagree with you. Now some of you might think Unmesh has gone crazy. There's something wrong with my eye. Probably there is. But wait till the end, I'm going to show you why the colors have not actually changed. But before, we need to understand why this is happening and what is the whole deal with color spaces. Now, before we even dive deep into the confusion, we need to go back to the basics. First of all, let us understand what is a color space. Now, it might sound like a very complex terminology, but it actually is not. Color space is basically a space of colors. That's it. It's a range of colors. Nothing more than that. That's it. Now let's have a look at this diagram. Look at this whole area, right? I'm going to highlight that for you. This is the region of visible colors. This is the range of colors that a normal human eye can see. Now there are different color spaces, meaning different ranges of color. Of course, if you have a printer, it can only paint a certain range of colors, right? It does have a physical limitation, which is ink. Let's have a look at some color spaces. Here is the sRGB color space. This whole area. This, my friend, is the most supported color space. Every social media platform where you upload your photos, every photo viewer in your phone or your computer, everyone supports it. Alright, but the downside is it's very small, right? As you can see, this is the whole range of colors that you can see, and the sRGB only represents and only can show this area. However, it's supported by most. Now, let's have a look at the second one, which is AdobeRGB. It is a little larger, and the ProPhoto RGB is so large that it can also show colors that even the human eye cannot see. It supports those colors. However, our regular monitor screens cannot show these areas, but you get the point. ProPhoto is the biggest, sRGB is the smallest in this range that I have, and then you have some other color spaces as well. Now here is the answer to the confusion that we had in the beginning. Have a look at the document that we are working with. It is in ProPhoto RGB color space, right? If you cannot see it right there, just click on this arrow and then choose Document Profile, Color Profile. It's going to show you ProPhoto RGB or whatever color profile you're working with. It can show you sRGB, it can show you AdobeRGB, whatever you're working with. Now, when I go ahead and export it by going to File, Export, and Export As, alright, I have not converted it into anything, right? This is unchecked. I have not converted this image into sRGB. I have also not embedded the color profile. The image is exactly the way it is and I'm exporting it. And that's what I did when I did it with Export 1 in the beginning. For your satisfaction, let's do it one more time. Click on Export All and this time we're going to name it Export 2. It's going to give you the same result. Now let's just go ahead and open that up back in Photoshop. I'm just going to drag it and drop it into Photoshop right in here. However, the color still looks as if it changed. Have a look. This is the original one. This is Export 1. This is Export 2. If you look at the color profile, I want you to have a close look at this one. Have a look at the color profile right there. It just says it's Untagged RGB. It's just that Photoshop does not know what the color profile of this image is. But you know it, my friend. You do. What was the color profile of this image? ProPhoto RGB, right? So if you go to Edit, this is important. If you go to Edit and then you go to Assign Profile and then you choose the profile ProPhoto RGB and hit OK. Now have a look. Now Photoshop knows it's ProPhoto RGB. Look right there. And now look at the original one. The color matched. The colors were still there. It did not change. but Photoshop did not know what color profile it belonged to. Once you told Photoshop, alright, this is ProPhoto RGB, boom, it came back. Let's go back to export 1. So here's what happens when Photoshop does not know what colors to include. By default, it chooses, in most cases, the sRGB and does not include colors which are outside the sRGB range, like in these areas. And that's why it kind of creates this kind of faded look. However, you can actually convert the colors to the colors which are inside the sRGB range. So let's say you want to convert it. It's also very simple. Let's go to Edit and then Convert to Profile. Keep in mind, assign is different. Assign is when Photoshop does not know what the profile is and you want to assign something to it. Assign basically means what color ranges you want to include. However, if we need to convert it, let's go to Convert to Profile. You can actually go ahead and convert it from ProPhoto RGB, which is source, to sRGB. There are lots of methods of conversion. I'm just going to leave it at the default values and hit OK. And it does a pretty good job. Sometimes you might see a slight change because that color was too much outside the boundaries of the sRGB range, but for the most part, it will do a pretty good job. So back to the main question. How do you avoid this issue altogether? There is no right solution to it. There are actually two options. The question you need to ask yourself is that do you want to confirm or limit the colors to sRGB for it to be able to support it everywhere? Or do you want to keep all the colors that you have, maybe in ProPhoto RGB or AdobeRGB, and make the image not so compatible with all of the areas? What do you want to do? So let's say if I was going to post it on social media or online where I don't know whether AdobeRGB is supported or not, I'm just going to export it as sRGB by going to File, Export, Export As. If you just go ahead and check Convert to sRGB, it will do it automatically for you. So this is, as you can see, the preview, it's faded. If I check Convert to sRGB, it will automatically convert that for you and the colors will be there. All you need to do now is just click on Export All and it will be fine. However, let me give you one more option. If you want to keep everything, all right, keep every color, and tell Photoshop that this, my friend, is ProPhoto RGB. I don't want to assign it once I open the photo. All you got to do is this. Let's go to File, Export, Export As. Just make sure this one is checked, which is called Embed Color Profile. If you do not want to limit the colors to sRGB, keep it unchecked and then click on Export All. Now what happens is, let's name it Export 3. Now what happens is that when I open up Export 3, let's go to our File Explorer, let's just drag it and drop it inside of Photoshop. Now Photoshop knows it's the same image. It's just that now Photoshop knows that it is ProPhoto RGB. Let me show you something interesting if you're a little nerdy. Let's go to Edit. And then if I go to Assign Profile and tell Photoshop, hey, you guessed it wrong, you got it wrong. It's not ProPhoto RGB, it's actually sRGB. So let's take it up. And if I choose sRGB, hit OK. Now have a look. Doesn't this look familiar? Doesn't this look like Export 1? So when you do not tell Photoshop what it is, when you export it, by default, it assumes that it is sRGB, and so does every social media platform. Here's what happens. I used to export in ProPhoto RGB and then upload it to Instagram, and the colors used to fade just like this. I did not know that Instagram had an issue with ProPhoto RGB and it would support sRGB the best. From then on, when I started uploading an sRGB color profile, the colors worked perfectly. I hope this video made some sense to you again, and if it did, make sure to give us a like, and also don't forget to subscribe, and not just subscribe, ring the bell so that you, my friend, don't miss any other future tips, tricks or tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in our next one. Till then, stay tuned and make sure that you keep creating.